welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are strapping ourselves into something. Well, something that's loud, tiny, and honestly, just wonderfully ridiculous. The new Abarth 500e.
And it really is ridiculous because if you think about the formula for a small city EV,
Right. It's supposed to be quiet, efficient, maximize its range.
exactly, those are the logical, sensible pillars the whole market is built on. But the Abarth 500e, it doesn't just ignore them, it actively demolishes them.
It's a self-described pocket rocket, and it's built for, and I'm quoting here, pure, distilled, and hardcore fun.
And that single-minded pursuit of fun leads to some truly bizarre, really counterintuitive design choices.
It feels like a car that rejects the whole spreadsheet logic of 2024 and just dives headfirst into emotional excess.
Which sets up the central question for this deep dive, right?
Yeah.
Why take a perfectly rational car like the Fiat 500e and deliberately engineer it into something so irrational?
Okay, so let's unpack that. What was the core mission here?
Well, it wasn't about range. Fiat and Abarth boss Olivier Francois was pretty clear. He said, performance made us do it. Better acceleration, better handling, more fun.
So the whole point was just to be more thrilling than the old gas-powered one.
And that was the entire justification.
But isn't sacrificing range in a small EV, isn't that just a massive risk? Most buyers care about that more than anything.
They do. But Abarth reframed what performance means. They just threw the long-distance handbook out the window.
And decided to build a sprinter, not a marathon runner.
Exactly. They prioritized immediate responsiveness, the get up and go.
So what does that look like on paper? How much faster is it?
Well, they upgraded the motor to 113 kilowatts, so the headline figure is pretty good. 0 to 62 in 7 seconds flat.
That's a full 2 seconds quicker than the standard Fiat 500e.
A real edge off the line.
But here's where it gets really interesting, isn't it? Because this speed isn't about setting highway records.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
This car is explicitly tuned for the city, for traffic.
And that's where you see the biggest difference compared to the petrol version, right? At low speeds.
This is where the EV platform just shines. The instant torque is devastatingly effective. It's a full second faster from 12 to 25 miles per hour than the old petrol Abarth 695.
Which is exactly the kind of burst you need in a dense city.
Oh, and listen to this. To go from 25 to 38 miles per hour, it takes just 1.5 seconds.
Wow, that's over a second quicker than its fossil-fueled sibling.
So they absolutely succeeded. They engineered the most exhilarating short burst city car in the segment.
But when you focus so hard on one thing, you create trade-offs, extreme trade-offs.
And that brings us to the two big controversies with this car. The ride and the sound.
Let's start with the ride.
Okay, so the goal was to get what they called a genuine kart-like feel.
Which meant they had to completely transform the chassis from the comfortable, easygoing Fiat 500e.
They really went all in. Longer wheelbase, wider track, and much, much stiffer springs. All for stability.
So it's great in the corners, I assume? Flat, predictable.
Superb.
Yeah.
But here's the downside. The daily driver compromise is huge.
The sources all said the ride is just too stiff as a daily.
It is. And there was one observation that really stood out. It's not just uncomfortable, it actually disrupts your driving.
This is the part where it bounces so hard your foot comes off the accelerator.
Exactly that. It's
Yeah.
such a specific and frankly an alarming piece of feedback. It's like the car is warning you, I am not a comfort car.
It's for enthusiasts who will accept physical jolts for that perfect handling response.
No question.
Okay, so moving from the stiff bounce to the loud roar, we have to talk about the sacrilege of a silent Abarth.
It was an existential crisis for them. The brand's DNA is that famous and unmistakable Abarth roar. Silence just wasn't an option.
So they decided to solve the problem of silence.
And they invested an incredible, almost unbelievable amount of time into it.
We're talking 6,000 hours.
6,000.
Hours.
To engineer an optional feature they call the sound generator.
The cost of those engineering hours alone, it's just absurd.
For manufactured noise,
It tells you everything about how much they value that heritage. The result is an external speaker that plays a synthesized version of the old petrol exhaust note.
and it even greets you with a guitar noise when you turn it on.
It's a very intentional attempt to, digitally recreate the soul that the physics of an EV took away.
But does it actually work? Does it feel real?
Oh, that's what's so fascinating. The reaction was completely divided. Reviewers called it an acquired taste.
That's putting it mildly, I think.
One reviewer just said it bluntly. It's not sporty and does nothing to enhance the driving experience whatsoever.
So it's a digital ghost.
Hmm.
An impressive technical achievement maybe, but a spiritual failure.
For many, yes. Thankfully, you can turn it off. For your own sanity and probably your neighbors.
A very necessary feature.
And if you connect this obsession with heritage and these extreme trade-offs to the bigger picture, you realize this car is carrying a ton of historical baggage.
The legacy of Fiat itself. Exactly. This isn't just a machine. It's tied into Italy's national story.
Absolutely. The original Fiat 500 was a symbol of Italy's post-war rebirth. It put the country back on wheels. The sources call it a vessel for memory.
And that deep national connection created some deep structural problems for the company down the line. For years, Fiat was under immense pressure from the government not to lay off workers.
So it was almost part of the state's welfare system.
In a way, yes, and that really limited their agility. While competitors in Germany and Japan were streamlining, Fiat was carrying thousands of extra workers.
Which brings us to today. Why is manufacturing in Italy so challenging that it leads to this eye-watering price tag on the Abarth?
Well, the legacy labor costs are part of it, but the bigger issue now is energy. Italy has some of the highest industrial electricity prices in all of Europe.
Why so high?
They don't have many domestic fuel sources. They're heavily reliant on imported natural gas, which makes their factories incredibly vulnerable to price shocks.
So moving production abroad wasn't a choice, it was a necessity for survival.
It was a cold, hard necessity.
So this little Abarth 500e arrives carrying all of that. The need to be modern, the need to cling to a noisy heritage, and a price tag that reflects decades of industrial challenges.
Precisely. And that's why, when you look at it logically, the analysis is brutal.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's evaluate it with that spreadsheet-driven mindset. First up, price.
Universally described as eye-watering.
And the number.
In the UK, it starts at over £34,000. It goes all the way up to $41,000 for the convertible.
For a tiny city car with huge compromises. Okay. Next, range.
The official WLTP number is between 158 and 164 miles.
Which already isn't great. And in the real world.
On the motorway, you're looking at a paltry 120 miles.
That's performance from 5 years ago.
And what about practicality?
Barely exists. The boot is a tiny 185 liters, and the back seats, useless for anyone, as one source put it, older than about 10.
And to top it all off, a subpar warranty.
The 3-year warranty. It just isn't cricket, as they say, for a premium car in 2024. So what does this all mean? The list of flaws is huge.
It's long. If you use your head, if you look at the numbers, you simply should not buy this car.
And yet, critics love it.
They do. Because it was never meant to be rational. Its only purpose is entertainment.
It's the ultimate emotional purchase.
That's the whole story. The emotional capture is total. One review put it perfectly. To concentrate on its many flaws is to misunderstand its main purpose, to entertain and put a smile on your face.
And on that front, it delivers.
It delivers more smiles per mile than anything else in the sector. It's a car bought with the heart, not the head.
What a fascinating bundle of contradictions. It's a perfect vehicle for this uncertain electric future, isn't it? Blending silent, instant torque with this desperate cling to a noisy past.
It really is.
But let's look forward for a second. We talked about all that industrial baggage, especially the high energy costs. Is there any way out of that for Italy?
There is. And this is the real source of optimism in the story. It's the development of photovoltaics, solar power.
A potential game changer.
A huge one. If Italy can transition its industry to domestically generated solar, it solves that decades-old problem of high energy costs.
And that would make Italian manufacturing competitive again. It would be like a 21st century version of the post-war rebirth the original 500 represented.
Exactly. And the Abarth 500e, for all its flaws and its digital roar, proves that the Italian spirit of fun and style and passion can endure.
It suggests that smiles per mile might just be the most important metric after all.
I think it might be.
That's a wonderful thought to end on. You now know everything about the bizarre, brilliant, and deeply flawed Abarth 500. Thank you for diving deep into the sources with us today.
It was a pleasure to unpack this one. Such a complicated story of engineering and emotion.
If you enjoyed this journey, be sure to follow the channel so you don't miss the next fascinating story we unpack together. Grazie per averci dedicato del tempo.